Hello and welcome to New Mexico Rising. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week I try to bring people from across the country to talk to me about cool things we could do right here in New Mexico. On this week's show, we got Jason Biggs here to talk about his love for pastries.
I love that it's the greatest movie with the relationship to a pastry. I'm curious what the other ones are on that list.
Even though 2/3 of people feel guilty about taking time off, 90% of people say we need it.
All that and more right here on New Mexico Rising. Surprise medical bills could cause devastating financial stress for patients, forcing many to choose between paying their unexpected medical expenses or just meeting their basic needs. So today, we're joined by Dr. J. Carter Ralphie, a tenured professor and division chief at the Division of Cardiology at UW Health Kids and a longtime volunteer for the American Heart Association. Dr. Ralphie is here to kind of give us some insight what can be done to reduce those unexpected costs. Welcome to the show, Dr. Ralphie. How are you?
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me. Great.
Can you talk about how surprise medical bills harm patients?
Sure. You know, surprise medical billing is something that we don't run into unless we go into a hospital unexpectedly. An ER is a classic place where we're receiving care in an emergency situation, and many times surrounded by a team of doctors and providers and caregivers. We don't know who all they are. And what we don't know is that some of them may not be in network for our health insurance provider. And when we go home and are recovering, insurance is, handling a lot of the bills, but then we get this surprise bill that we didn't expect, and we are on the hook for the entire bill. And this is the surprise billing, and it happens, happen pretty regularly, particularly in ERs, particularly acute care centers, emergent situations, air transport between hospitals, ambulatory surgical centers. And it would inflict these pretty significant financial burdens on families for hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars, and throws families into a financial crisis and leads some to avoid seeking care altogether.
So how is the No Surprise Act working, or what is that?
Yeah, the No Surprise Act was passed by Congress back in 2020. It had great bipartisan support. It's not a Republican issue. It's not a Democrat issue. It's a people issue. And the American Heart Association has supported it very strongly. And since 2020, it's actually protected patients, more than 10 million, from surprise medical bills. It makes it not permissible to pass those bills directly on to patients. And the law also has portions of it that help keep insurance premiums affordable and reduce out-of-pocket expenses for patients. And with this law in place, actually, it is protecting families and individuals from unfair, unexpected medical bills that really can cause financial stress.
So why is it important for us to keep it in place?
I think because it's working, right? It's one of those things that helps individuals and families, and it helps across the board from these unexpected costs. It helps, prevent throwing a family into a financial crisis and all the stress related to that. The real issue is it's a complicated bill, like most bills I think are in the end. And there are special interests that want to kind of nibble around at the edges of it, the way it's being implemented, the way it's being enforced. And it's really important for us to, be vigilant and step up and make sure that this bill, this act, which is in place and working well, is not weakened. And that's why the American Heart Association has stepped in. It's really urging Congress and the White House to stand up for patients, for each of us, right, and resist attempts to undermine this law and keep this bipartisan No Surprises Act as strong as we can.
So what can we do to help?
We all can do a lot, it turns out. We can advocate for the strength of this act. We can join. The easiest thing to me, I think, is just joining the American Heart Association's efforts. And they've set up a way to do that together. And it's by simply texting the word surprise, 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 to 46839. That's just text the word surprise to 46839. And then you're joined together with all the other Americans who are joining in and the American Heart Association in really showing Congress and the White House that we are unified in our desire to keep this bill and this act strong.
All right, Dr. Ralphie, where can we go for more information about this?
Yeah, so, we're all faced with these tough situations and it's super complicated, right? So the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid services have set up a hotline. It's a no surprises help desk. And so if you do receive one of these bills, an out of pocket expense, you can call 1-800 1-800-985-3059 any day of the week. 1-800-985-3059 and talk to a person who can help you navigate through this. If you prefer, however, you can just go online to cms.gov/no surprises, and you can enter in your issue with that and get help. So there is help available.
Dr. J. Carter Ralphie, thanks for joining me this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you.
It is back to school season, and what better way to kick it off than with some Lunchbox inspiration. So today we have Kathy Buccio, a lifestyle expert, and Supermom, who's here to share her secrets at packing a great lunch. You know, Kathy is a former Access Hollywood producer and currently shares her expertise on shows like Today and Good Morning America. So let's welcome her and her expertise to the show. Kathy Buccio, how are you, my friend?
Hello, Dan. What a warm welcome. It's so great to be here with you.
So why is it important to prepare for the school year, my friend?
Oh, Dan, you know, going back to school is a very hectic time, right? I'm a busy mom, a busy working mom. And one thing that has saved my sanity, and I really want to emphasize sanity here, Dan, is preparation and really utilizing things that can help me and my kids succeed. And I'm going to pay it forward to all the parents out there. And I'm here to share suggestions to add some creativity to those school lunches.
All right. Are there any tips on getting more nutrition into like the lunch boxes that, you know, the kids are going to actually enjoy?
Yes, right, because we want our kids to give us 5-star reviews. That's what we want from those children.
Exactly.
Now, but it can feel a little difficult to fit all that nutrition into your child's diet in a way that they're going to love and they're going to enjoy. But one of my tips is really simple, and we're going to love this one, Dan. It's milk. Dairy milk, even chocolate milk, lactose-free milk. It's a nutrition powerhouse, provides 13 essential nutrients for only about a quarter per serving. And the nutrients really help support that focus and brain development, a healthy immune system, hydration. It helps kids reach their full growth potential too. Now, here's my secret weapon, because my kids, they love chocolate milk. And if up to them, they probably drink chocolate milk all day and every day for every meal. It's a delicious solution that really offers the same nutrients as white milk, and it allows moms and kids to feel really good about what's going in those lunch boxes. And you know what? They're happy, so I'm happy.
All right, so what advice do you have for like making lunch prep easier?
Right? We don't want that chaos in the morning,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Especially when you're packing those school lunches and the kids, you know, have 100 different opinions. No, I'm going to give you a convenient and affordable option that I always have stocked in my fridge. It's Lunchables snack kits, because my kids love them. I remember going to school and having those in my lunch boxes, and I love them. And they provide the nutrients like protein, fiber, calcium, potassium. Like the Cracker Stacker snack kits, they have about 10 grams of protein, Dan. And that's because they have the turkey slices, cheese, and crackers. Some even come with ham too. They really help make that mealtime fun, and they make it easy, and it gives my kids that fuel, but also they look forward to this snack. And they're available nationwide, and definitely a must-have for the back-to-school season.
Hey, that's what got me hooked to charcuterie. This is
how we learn. This is how we learn to do those charcuteries now. Thank you, Lunchables.
Are there any secrets to like packing a well-balanced lunch?
Well, I've given you two, which is milk and Lunchables. But here's another great tip, which is keep it organized, right? I always say include your kids in this part of it, because it'll make them feel included, make them feel like they have a big responsibility. So create a school lunch station in your fridge, in your pantry. I know in my fridge, I have the Lunchables, the milk, the fruit, all stacked on one side, so that we know and the kids know that's what's going in your lunchbox. Color coordinated, put labels on it, have fun. The kids love it, and it's something that's easy to do too.
And do you have any suggestions for any other like lunchbox inspiration?
We can go on and on, Dan. Yes, I do. I'll give you two, because these are the ones that I do at home with my kids. And I love, love, love leaving inspirational notes on them, or little Post-it notes on their Lunchables in their lunchbox. And my son, my 8-year-old son, he always reminds me, but I'm not going to forget, because I know how much they love it. But he's always like, Mom, did you put my note in there? Because they really look forward to what I write, and it makes it feel special. Another idea, I love back to school shopping. Let your kids be a part of picking out their own lunchbox. That way they can personalize it, maybe add a signature touch to it. They can show off to their friends. It'll definitely make lunchtime even more fun.
Kathy Buccio, thanks for everything. Where can we go for more information and also follow you on social media?
know. You can follow me on Instagram at Kathy Buccio TV. And for more information on everything that we talked about today, tipsontv.com.
Kathy Buccio, thanks for joining me this morning, my friend.
Thanks, Dan.
If summer fun is being ruined by eczema flare-ups, well, we've got some news for you. Today, we're joined by Dr. Adam Friedman, a renowned dermatologist from Washington, D.C., who's here to discuss a new treatment that could help manage and control eczema. Dr. Friedman is here with some tips on dealing with summer flare-ups and introduce Zoryve, a once-daily steroid-free cream. Welcome to the show, Dr. Friedman. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me here.
So what is eczema and what are some of the symptoms?
Yeah, so atopic dermatitis or eczema is one of the most common chronic inflammatory skin condition affecting over 25 million Americans alone, of which 9 million are kids. And this condition is, as you mentioned, relapsing, chronic, disabling, and certainly destructive to one's quality of life as well as skin. While there's a broad spectrum of how this can present, a common theme is itch, and it's an itch that feels really good to scratch, which unfortunately facilitates exacerbation of this condition, which can appear as pink, red, or even purple patches or plaques throughout the body that can be flaky, oozy, or even blister. So I've joined forces with Arcutis to increase awareness for this condition, but to your point, also discuss new treatment options.
So how can summer weather affect eczema flare-ups?
Yeah, lots of ways, unfortunately. So the physical heat, of which we have plenty, and the sweating that ensues, as well as things we put on our skin to protect ourselves from the sun or bugs, all can exacerbate this condition. And, the word eczema literally means to boil up. So it only takes a little bit to make this thing start to really flare up and, of course, impact someone's quality of life and able to function on a day-to-day.
So what are ways that you could care for your skin if you have eczema?
Yep. So there's some basic principles that apply to everyone. First, when you're bathing to hydrate your skin, which means you're going to limit soap. And when you use soap, it's going to be a mild cleanser meant for someone with eczema. More importantly, when you get out of the bath or shower, apply a moisturizer to damp skin to lock that moisture in, which is so importantly needed here. Now, beyond that, we are so fortunate that we have an array of new FDA-approved therapies, both topical and even systemic, meaning inside out. The most recent being Zoryve 0.15% cream or roflumilast cream, which is approved for once daily application for mild to moderate eczema in those who are 6 years and up. So clearly covering a wide gamut of individuals affected by this condition.
So how will a new medication impact some of these eczema patients?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, when you have an FDA-approved medication indicated for your problem, it's validating. It says you have been seen. But when we think about something that's applied once a day, that improves adherence. And this is a chronic condition. So, this is a condition that will need to be managed over time. But also, that means we also have lots of data, both about the efficacy, how well it works, as well as the safety. And this was very well tolerated by those with eczema, with the most common side effects including headache, nausea, or site application pain. But this only happened in roughly 3% of individuals who were studied. So what that means is this translates into a product that someone can use over time to get the results they're looking for.
Dr. Adam Friedman, where can we go for more information?
So you can come to someone like me, a board-certified dermatologist or a dermatology team, or even easier, you can go online to Zoryve, Zoryve.com for more information about this medication and, of course, the condition.
Thanks for joining me this morning, my friend.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
If you think early childhood education is all about the A's, the B's, the C's, well, you got to think again. Today, we're joined by Sharon Lightwinick, a member of Kitty Academy's Life Essentials Curriculum Advisory Council, to kind of discuss how teaching life skills can shape a child's future. Sharon has some insights on the Life Essentials Curriculum and ways families can support learning at home. Welcome to the show, Sharon. How are you?
I'm great. How are you this morning?
I'm doing okay. So how important is early childhood education? And why should early educators focus on developing life skills?
Well, Dan, we know how critical the first 5 years of a child's development are. From birth to age 5, a child's brain develops faster than at any other time in their life. And research has shown that the quality of a child's experiences in those first few years of life actually help shape how their brain develops. And that's why it's so important for childcare providers to create learning moments in real time, each and every day, that can transfer to life outside of the classroom. And that means working to create and support a strong classroom to home connection.
So, what sort of life skills are important to younger children?
Well, early childhood education should be focused on developing the whole child. Not only does exposure in a high-quality childcare establish a foundation for critical thinking and future academic growth, but it also needs to provide children with the opportunity for socialization, an opportunity to build their confidence, to talk about character, what it means to be patient and kind and thoughtful. We want to explore and support a child's natural curiosity, help them create connection. We will focus on critical thinking, but we're also going to focus on creative expression. So those are some of the soft skills that we're going to focus on with children, and we also want families to be able to focus on those soft skills at home.
So how can families reinforce the school curriculum at home and maybe do some family engagement?
Well, I think about how often a parent asks their preschooler the question, "What did you do in school today?" Only to hear their 3-year-old respond with nothing or "I just played." And playing is a perfectly good reply since we know children learn through play, but as parents and family caregivers, we want to hear a little more. So strong, healthy relationships between educators and families further support a child's success and allow parents to be able to dig a little deeper when they're asking their child what they did. At Kitty Academy, we know that daily communication is foundational to creating that strong academy-home connection. So as a parent, I know what my child is doing in the classroom. I have open lines of communication with my child's educator, and I also know where I can go to find out more about how they've been spending their day. What are the very specific things they've been learning about and experiencing? And when I know that, I can change my very generic question of "What did you do at school today?" to knowing that, as an example, I know you talked about bears today. And I know that you talked about bears going to sleep during the winter. I can't remember what that's called. I think it's now your 3-year-old's talking about hibernation, and you at home are talking about what bears like to eat. Maybe you're making a bear snack. Maybe you're making up a song about bears. And if as a parent, I'm going back to my child's classroom and sharing with my child's educator what we did at home regarding bears, I'm further strengthening those academy to home learning connections. And at Kitty Academy, we have several ways of communicating with parents, everything from daily reports via Academy Link to more formalized parent-teacher conferences, where as a parent, I can learn about my child's kindergarten readiness. I'm definitely going to want to make sure that I'm sharing in organic conversations with my families that drop off and pick up. As a parent, I'm sharing those things that we're doing at home to support learning. And as an educator, I use those organic times of communication to express genuine interest and knowledge about how a particular child is learning and developing.
Can you tell us about the Life Essentials curriculum?
Absolutely. Life Essentials is focused on providing those opportunities for children to develop those outcomes, some of those softer skills for life. We meet children where they are. It's developmentally appropriate. It's aligned with recognized learning standards, and it is supported by the educators in the classroom. It is play-based, but we have a focus on building character, confidence, curiosity and connection, I mentioned, critical thinking and creative expression. And for over 40 years, Kitty Academy has been a leader in high-quality childcare. And the curriculum is designed to prepare children not just for school, but for life.
Sharon Leitzwinick, where can we go for more information?
I'm so glad you asked. You can visit kittyacademy.com. Simply click on Find an Academy near you, provide some information with your state, city, or zip code, and you'll see a list of academies. You can book a tour right from there, or you can choose to reach out to the Academy directly at the phone number listed on their website.
Sharon Leitzwinick, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
Life in 21st century America can be stressful. You know, work, inflation, politics, families, the kids' schedules, and we're pretty much a nation always on the go. However, a just released survey reveals that Americans may finally be getting the message that taking intentional moments of laziness isn't always negative. See, that's a survey that I'm all about. It can be good for the body and also the spirit. So joining us to talk about this survey and give us a little insights is Dr. Sue Varma, a psychiatrist and author of Practical Optimism, the art, science, and practice of exceptional well-being. Let's welcome her to the show. Dr. Varma, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm gonna make it today, I hope. That's one of the things I'm hoping, is that
Great.
I just need to calm down a little bit, maybe get some rest, be lazy for today, and that's what I'm interested in. Can you tell us about some of the most interesting findings from this survey?
Yes. So this Harris Poll survey was very interesting. It was commissioned by Lazy Boy, and what it found was even though 2/3 of people feel guilty about taking time off, 90% of people say we need it, right? Like self-care is not optional. It's a form of health, like laziness specifically as a form of self-care. So I really love this, and I'm a data-driven person. So show me the numbers if you're going to get me to, get behind something. And this to me says that we're desperately seeking permission to take time off.
So why do we feel so guilty when we do absolutely nothing?
We have been conditioned from an early age. When you just look at what kids are going through today, I mean, I feel like their pressures are more so than ever before. But this pressure to succeed, to achieve, to have accolades, to keep up with everybody, I mean, it's a lot. And I feel like some of the what we call the sandwich generation, people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s and 50s, like taking care of elderly parents, raising a young family, we're pulled in every single direction, and we're told that we have to be the best at everything. So there's kind of like this idea of perfectionism that makes us feel like we have to go 100 miles an hour always.
So how can we shift our mindset to see laziness as kind of a beneficial practice?
Absolutely. So first of it is just like knowing what the research is. And the research shows that people who take rest are more productive in the end, and they're healthier. And then it's about creating and carving out those intentional time and spaces in our lives. So the time is like 5 to 10 minutes every hour, every couple of hours if you can, but really like blocking out the outside world. And, a lot of people do this. They can create what I call a Zen den in their home, in their office. And this is like kind of like a do not disturb zone. It could be a yoga mat. It could be a throw pillow. It could be a Lazy Boy recliner. Anything that says, please come and relax and shut the outside world out, leave it out. So that intentionality, carving and creating that time is huge.
So what are the benefits of not going 100 miles per hour all the time?
The benefits are endless. So less anxiety, less depression, less heart attack, less stroke, less overall inflammation in the body. And we know that pretty much all chronic illnesses have inflammation sort of at their root, and prevention goes such a long way. So just taking 5 to 10 minutes several times a day. Look, no one is saying don't look at your nutrition, don't exercise. 100% you need to do that. But rest is really a very key component of health, and a really free, accessible, and underutilized one.
So what is the best thing about self-compassion?
Self-compassion is free, and it says to you that I have worth, simply because I exist. And I think that to me is the antidote to all of this kind of like hustle culture that we're in, that says, we always need to do something to prove our worth. And self-compassion is reclaiming that and saying, no, you don't need to do anything. You can simply be today, right? Like being a human being and not constantly a human doing, and just allows you to take permission. Because I think a lot of us, that guilt just creeps in. Like I'm sitting around, oh my God, I watched too much TV. Like, what am I doing? So it says, nope, you're good. Take a break.
And where can our viewers go for more information about this?
So lazyboy.com and visiting your nearest Lazy Boy retailer are two great ways to lean into leisure and relaxation as a benefit.
Dr. Varma, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So today we're diving into the sweet and competitive world of Blue Ribbon Baking Championship. So joining us are the show's host, Jason Biggs, along with judges Brian Ford, a renowned artisan baker, and Bill Yassas, a former White House pastry chef. Welcome to the show, you three. How are you?
Great. How are you, Dan?
I'm doing all right. All right, Jason, how'd you go about acting in comedies? You were probably one of the greatest movies that had a relationship with a pastry, to now hosting baking competition. What drew you to this?
I love that it's the greatest movie with a relationship to a pastry. I'm curious what the other ones are on that list.
Hey, you name another one. You name another one that could be on the list.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a big food guy. I love food. I love sweets. I have a very sweet tooth, and I love competition shows. And I love hosting. So for me, it was just you know, sort of a no-brainer. I love this idea. I love that we brought together an amazing group of blue ribbon winning bakers from around the country. You know, I love state fairs. Used to go when I was a kid. I still do go sometimes. So, and then you add in Bill and Brian to the mix, and I'm telling you, their discerning eyes on these various desserts. You know, look, I thought I had a good palate and could, you know, judge something fairly well, but compared to these guys, not even close. But we had a blast. It's super fun, funny, I hope, and really sweet too. There's some really sweet moments, I think. So.
Brian, you're an award-winning artist and baker. What unique skills and techniques are you kind of looking for out of some of the contestants of Blue Ribbon Baking Championship?
I like when contestants think outside the box. I hate to say think outside the box, but you know what I mean. Using innovation, creativity, pushing themselves to do something more great than they ever thought they could do. That's how I carry myself at work. You know, I try to make something that's different than what's being made, something that pushes me to be excellent. So, you know, I like to see that creativity, innovation, and of course, it's got to be delicious. Don't play with me. If it ain't delicious, please, please, please make it delicious.
You gotta think outside the bread box.
Yeah.
If you will.
That works.
Did you see what I did there?
I did.
And Bill, with your experience as a former White House pastry chef, what challenges do you think the contestants are going to be facing that's really going to test their abilities?
Well, it definitely tested their abilities, and there was a lot of tension because the show kind of ramps up the stakes every time, every episode. And they really pull through. But I think one of the most interesting things was they developed this camaraderie with each other. Even though they are competing with each other, they help one another, and they're really sad to see somebody get ushered off the stage. So I think that emotional quotient was what I found most interesting.
That's a really good point. Like, it's not Survivor, right? They're not like plotting to destroy the other person.
No.
How do you take them down? It's actually a very sweet
Not
part
that
of the
we know
show.
of.
Not that we know.
Not that we
You're
know
right.
of.
Not like I was trying to plot to take these two down the whole time, but it didn't work. We're still here.
Still here.
Well, thank you three for joining me this morning. You got to check out Blue Ribbon Baking Championship. It's now streaming on Netflix, and you get to watch talented bakers from across the country compete for the ultimate prize and title of America's Best Baker. So also, don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow us on social media for updates and exclusive content from the show. Thanks for joining us this morning, you three.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Dan.
Thanks for having us.
And that's it for New Mexico Rising. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. If you actually want to be on the show, just email me. That's newmexicorising@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, we're on Instagram, we're on Facebook. Just look up New Mexico Rising Television. And if you want to get some of the books from some of the authors that we have on our show, just go to our website. That's newmexicorising.com. Make sure you like and subscribe us on YouTube at NM Rising. Until next week, that was New Mexico Rising.